video was one that I promised to do a few months ago. It is baked macaroni and cheese, and the recipe I'm using today is a combination of Naomi Judd's like southern style homemade baked mac and cheese with a little twist that I found on an all foods recipe, and so I wanted to kind of combine them together because my family loves baked macaroni and cheese, but they also love a creamy, saucy cheese. And so I found an excellent recipe, and I just wanted to share to combine the two together. I will also be putting the link to the description for the all foods recipe, and if I can find one for Naomi Judd's recipe, I will add the link to that as well. If not, I will just put a picture with her recipe at the end, and I'll put her recipe in the description as well, because Naomi Judd's baked macaroni and cheese is excellent, and I highly recommend it 100% over and over again. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the little bell icon so you know when I post more insane videos. So, on the show.
All right. Today we are going to be making homemade macaroni and cheese. It's baked macaroni and cheese. A lot of times when I say I'm making mac and cheese, people assume that it is from a box, which maybe it is, considering that the macaroni comes out of a box. However, this is the good stuff. So what you will need for this recipe is macaroni. I like to use the shells. You can use elbow macaroni or whatever macaroni your family enjoys. Mine prefers the shells, so I use the medium shells. It's fun. You're also going to need margarine, flour, milk, cream cheese, regular cheese. I use Colby Jack. You can use whatever cheese you prefer. Salt and breadcrumbs, but the breadcrumbs are optional. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your macaroni and you're going to boil it. And my water's already boiling, and I'm going to spare you watching water boil. Also, ham is optional. I like to cut up ham into cubes and put it in my macaroni and cheese, and that way it's one big meal. So, but it is optional. You do not have to add ham. If you don't like, you can also add like canned chicken or shredded chicken and bake it, and that makes it really, really good too. So we have one box of noodles cooked. I'm going to cut up the ham while the second box of noodles cooks. You only need one box if you're only feeding a small amount of people. But I'm feeding a lot of people, and they love this, so they want a lot of it. But don't feel like you have to do 2 boxes every time. I just double the recipe. So once your ham is cut up, you're going to put it in with your noodles and then just stir it up, and it looks like the ham outnumbers the shells, but once you add the other box, it'll kind of even itself out. And it really doesn't matter because this is like a meal. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now that that's done and my other box is still boiling. I know Tala, she's getting pretty. I'm going to go ahead and shred the cheese because I need 4 cups of, I'm using Colby Jack, that's what we like. So I'm going to use 2 cream cheeses. I just place them on the stovetop while I'm boiling so that they get room temperature and it'll be easier to mix them up. Yeah. So this next step is going to be a little bit tricky. We're going to melt the 6 tablespoons of butter, and then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. And because I decided that baked macaroni and cheese was simple enough, I didn't need to bring out my tripod, I'm going to attempt to do this with one hand. Also, you want to do this step, you're going to melt your butter and you're going to add your flour on medium heat. You don't want it to be too hot because then you'll burn the butter and the flour mixture. Okay, so it looks like we are almost completely melted. Once your butter is melted, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of flour at a time. And you're going to give it a little stir with your whisk. Okay, it's going to smoke a little bit. You're going to take it off the heat. And we're going to add the 2nd tablespoon of flour. Yes, I know, I should have thought and got my tripod ready. Alright, so you want to make sure that you stir this very quickly. See how it's bubbly? You don't want to burn this, okay? And don't be afraid to move it off the heat, okay? It's not, unless you have your house at like 50, 60 degrees, it's not going to cool down fast enough to ruin anything. Alright, next is the milk. Alright, so when you add your milk, you're going to do 1 cup at a time. It's going to heat up and you're going to stir it until it thickens. So this process does take a little time. Even though I did leave my milk out to become room temperature, it's going to take a little while. So I'll check back in with you. So here's the bowl with our macaroni and our ham, and you're just going to want to keep tossing it and mixing it together. All that ham is down at the bottom, so you want to get it to the top and then it will start to even out. It's the butter and stuff. Alright, so you want to just stir it until it gets a little bit thick, like that, and then you're going to add the next cup. And if it's too watery, you can add more flour to thicken it up. But don't do that until the end, because as it warms up, it's going to become thicker. And you really want to make sure that you pay attention to this part, because you don't want to burn this. So once you have a consistency you're happy with, because you don't want to burn it, you're going to add your cream cheese to the pot, and you're going to stir it until it is completely blended. Right. So the first one is in. The first one's in. We're going to give it a little stir. There it is. And then we're going to get the second one ready. And we're going to, whoa, that's hot. Plop it in. Trying to do this one-handed. Not. There we go. Yay! Alright, so now that both packages are in, we're going to go ahead and stir them until they're melted. And I like to melt the cream cheese completely before I add the Colby Jack, just so I know for sure that I got everything melted properly. Alright, so you can see that the cream cheese is completely melted, and it's actually, you can't see, but you can feel that it's actually gotten thicker as the cream cheese melted and everything's starting to blend together. So we're going to go ahead and add the Colby Jack, and you do want to stay close by and make sure that you don't burn this, because you can burn it, because there's cheese and flour and all kinds of good stuff. And you're just gonna stir this in until the Colby Jack is completely melted, and then you'll add it to the noodles. And I like to add a little bit of cheese on top before I put it in the oven. But we'll get to that in a moment. Alright, so the next step, now that your cream is nice and mixed and all your cheeses are melted and your... Alright, so then the next step, now that your cheeses are all melted, is you're going to turn off your stove, preheat your oven for 350, and get your baking dishes ready. So today I am going to be using my Pampered Chef stone. What was this? This was the Family Heritage Classic Collection. It was one of those like bakers with the Dutch oven lid, and I believe the Dutch oven lid got broken during a cross-country move. I'm not entirely sure though, but when I went to replace it, they said that it had been discontinued, so I was heartbroken. But anyway, I still have the bottom, and that was the most important piece. So what we're going to do now is... Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our cheese sauce and we're going to dump it into the bowl with our noodles and ham mix. And I'm going to try to do this one-handed. See how we do. Alright. This looks really good. It smells delicious. So you're just going to pour it in. Just like that. Alright, so now you have your noodles and cheese mixture, and you're just gonna stir it around, make sure everything is coated in this nice creamy cheese. Flick some on the floor for the dog. Don't forget about your fur babies. They love macaroni and cheese too. Now, if you want, you can add, at this point, you could make more, if you wanted to. You can make more cheese sauce. It just depends on how you like it. And then you're going to start filling the baking dish with the noodles and the ham mixture. I was just thinking to myself, this would probably be really good with some mixed vegetables, but not in my house. My family would probably be like, "What'd you do, Mom? You ruined the mac and cheese." I got all of it into one baking dish, which is nice. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to shred some cheese on top of it, and that way while it's baking, it's gonna get nice and crisp on top. But see how you got your mac, you got your cheese, you got your ham. It's a meal all on its own. It just needs some veg and it would be perfect. All right, so there it is with a layer of cheese on top. And the recipe says to bake it at 350 for 20 minutes. I will leave it in for a minimum of 20 minutes, but I've actually had to bake it for like 30 to 45 minutes just because of how thick it is. And because, you know, you really want that top layer of cheese to crisp up nicely. So here we're gonna put it in the oven. All right, so I just wanted to jump on here real quick, and I am definitely in my cooking mode. It is 102 degrees outside. I am in my kitchen. The vent to the air conditioning is on, but because the oven is on, it might as well be off. So anyway, but I just wanted to share with you, this recipe is super simple and it is easy to prepare, and the mess is minimal. I did everything in one pot, from boiling the macaroni to making the cheese sauce. It was all done in one pot. I used my big bowl and I used my baking dish. So cleanup is super simple, and especially if you follow my mom's instructions, which are clean while you cook. It took me a very long time to figure out the benefits to this, but if you keep your workspace clean while you are preparing your meal, you can sit down and enjoy it and not have to dread the cleanup afterwards. Let me show you. I'm going to show you my sink and the dishes I use. These were only for this recipe. So this is it. This is the pot that I used. Everything you see here was specifically used for this recipe, and it's going to be super simple to clean it up. I can even just do it real fast while the mac and cheese is baking, and that way I don't even have to run the dishwasher. Yeah, so if you are in a pinch for a fast, easy, but fulfilling meal, this baked macaroni and cheese, like I said, if you threw in a package of mixed veg, this would be a complete meal. It's almost like a chicken pot pie minus the crust and the chicken. But yeah, but you could totally make a casserole out of it or whatever. It's such a simple, easy, and satisfying recipe. So this is the first 20 minutes, and honestly, that looks like it could totally come out and people would absolutely love it. But I know my guys, and they like their cheese crispy, so I'm probably gonna leave it in for another 10 minutes and then check it. All right, so this is 30 minutes of baking, and you're nice and crispy. I know Tala's like, I want some. I know Tala's like, don't forget about me, Mom. So we decided to go ahead and put it in for another 5 minutes. So this is 35 minutes, and you can see that the cheese on the side is more bubbly and the cheese on top is a little more crispy. Alright. So we decided to put it in for another 5 minutes. So 40 minutes of baking, and now it's perfect. Because I'm starving. Let's cut a piece out. Are you ready for some, Elijah? You're welcome. Is that a yes? Okay. Well, it looks super good. Alright. Ooh, look at that. That looks so good. Holy cow. All right, that looks amazing. You want to taste it, Elijah?
Alright.
Yeah? Okay. You go ahead and taste it.
Why are you recording this?
Because I'm going to share it with my friends, how I'm making my mac and cheese.
Alright. Stereophobic.
Ready?
It's good.
It's good? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so it's my turn to taste it. I know Tala likes it. Absolutely. The best.